always protecting consumers. So Miguel, the floor is yours, but thank you already for being here.
Thank you very much. Do you hear me? Little louder.
Yes.
So this doesn't work. Well, it doesn't matter.
For the virtual people.
Okay. One of the fil rouge, one of the main topics I've been hearing today was impersonation. I think that actually my presentation goes a little bit further on that. First of all, why do we do it? Well, I think that the main threat to the internet is the loss of trust. If we don't continue to trust that digital environment, if people don't trust their bank apps anymore, then we really are into trouble. And I think that one of the basic layers to build that trust, of course, is security. So what do we need? Well, from the Center of Cybersecurity Belgium, we said we need to make sure that we protect that open and free cyberspace. But at the same time, we must build additional layers of liability and accountability. You cannot build a secure system when nobody is liable for what he's doing, when there is no accountability. So we want to decrease the vulnerability of our environment by making sure that this environment is trustworthy and that you can see if you get information from someone, if you get into contact from somebody, is this somebody that I can trust, that I know, or is this somebody that is anonymous? And this is, I think, one of the crucial steps. What we currently have is synthetic trust. We use the internet, we receive messages, we visit websites, and we believe that we are on the website of Amazon or Google or Facebook, but we are not sure at all. We don't know. Everything can be spoofed. You know that domains, email addresses, everything, phone numbers can be spoofed very easily. And on the other side, we shifted to something that we call zero trust. Very effective, but let's be honest, hard to implement. So we believe that reality is somewhere in the middle and should be based on, well, digital identity. And I know this is a little bit controversial. A lot of people already think, where is he going? Government agency, identity, internet control. Well, I don't think so. We spent more than 30% of our lives in an anonymous internet. Can you imagine that we should build road security with cars that have no number plates? You could never do. And of course, you could build a resilience act for car vendors and saying you have to build more secure cars. And you can make awareness programs for the drivers saying you have to drive this and this way. But at the end, if you have no number plates, it won't happen. In Belgium, you cannot get a bank account. You cannot get a SIM card without showing some kind of ID, without showing your identity. And there are a lot of things that you can do. I mean, I have my identity card on me and I have to have it by law on me all the time. I cannot remember in my whole life that I had to show it like that on the road because a policeman said, show me your identity card. It was always because I opened a bank account, I took an airplane, or I did something where my identity was important to ensure security. So it's not because you have identity layers built in that by default you have a sort of government control. This is a bit the idea. Our mission is to make Belgium one of the least vulnerable countries in the EU, and we do this by building active cybersecurity, which does not mean offensive. I don't believe in offensive reaction, certainly not against cybercrime, to be honest. And there are two main tracks in that story for us. That is spear warning and validated services. Spear warning is about identifying what are the most likely to be exploited vulnerabilities in the upcoming time for our country. It is about identifying the vulnerable systems in our country for those vulnerabilities, identifying the owners and warning them. We are sending out thousands of warnings per month to owners of vulnerable systems. ourselves. Spear warning, we call it, they invented spear phishing. We invented. Validated service is, and that is very important, with respect of anonymity, adding additional layers of validated services, and I'll come back. And of course, you need population involvement, and very important, trust. Trust is the basic of all security implementations. To build that trust, 4 years ago, we created a mail address suspicious@safeonweb.be. Safeonweb.be is the portal for the population. It's our portal where we tell people awareness, information on how to protect yourself, etc. And we called up to the population and we said, if you see something suspicious, forward it to us. And currently we receive more or less 15,000 emails per day of the Belgian population. And that is because they trust us. And it is very important that whatever we do, we must make sure that we remain trustworthy. We are transparent. We can be audited. We don't collect any information that we don't need. And we don't do anything with the information that we don't tell and that is not within our mission. You must remain trustworthy, and that is very important. What do we do with those 15,000 emails a day? We send it to Microsoft and to Google, Google Safe Browsing. We've heard it today. But there we saw that that process is a little bit too slow. Because in those 15,000 emails a day, we see what is happening. So it starts at 6:30 in the morning, Belgian time, where people start to notify new campaigns. A campaign runs between 2 and 3 days, and then it's over. So the domains that are being abused or being used for that phishing campaign only are used in average 2 or 3 days, and then it's over. What we also see is that we have Flanders and we have Wallonia, Dutch-speaking, French-speaking. Those domains don't cross. We have bought lists of domains and added to the BAP system. I will explain that immediately. Belgian anti-phishing shield. It doesn't make that much of a difference. So domains are only used for specific groups in a very short period of time. That's why we have created that Belgian anti-phishing shield with the main internet service providers. We filter out those 15,000 emails for 1.5 years now. The most important domains where we are 99.999% sure that they are 100% malicious. And there is DNS rerouting to a warning page that is something like Google Safe Browsing, but with our logos. We used the same looking colors. I hope there was no copyright on those colors. This means that we send out 12,000 times per day in our country that warning page. With those 15,000 emails that we get. This is almost fully automated. There are only 2 people that are full-time working on this project. All the rest is externalized and is automated. We didn't have any complaints in 1.5 years because of that, to that system, because we are so prudent in not redirecting something where there is legit content. I will not go too much into detail because I might advise fishers how to circumvent that system. But anyway. The third action that we do is we have an app, Safe on Web app. And there, if there is a threshold reached of 250 similar messages within a specific time frame, there is an automated alert going to the duty officers of CERTL.be, and they are pushing a warning on that app. So people get a warning, be careful now, there is a DHL phishing going on, don't get caught. So this is what we're doing against phishing. And this is so important because it gives us visibility and trust towards the population. Oh, yeah, and these are more or less the numbers. And then, of course, the next step, we are building a plugin. And the goal is to make it visible in the browser if you are on a validated domain or not. And how does this work? In that plugin, and we start up with a plugin, and we will try to link it up into the EIDAS 2 directive, Article 45 for the moment, if it stands, we will see in a few years, but we started with something simple, a plugin for the browser, not on smartphone. That will make the distinction not between green and red. And we believe that this is what can make the difference. You should make sure that people understand the green bird means this is a validated domain, a domain with a validated known owner. Or this is a domain that doesn't have publisher validation. This website is okay. Orange means okay. But if you want to share medical, financial, private, personal information, you should need the green bird. But if you're going to a restaurant and you're looking at the menu and you have the orange question mark, I mean, who cares? You don't leave any information. And then, of course, the non-malicious will have a red cross. How will this work? Well, the plugin will call an API. And that API will first of all validate your certificate. If you have an extended validation certificate, your identity is known. You will get the green bird, the green dash. If you have domain validated or identity validated of a trustworthy certificate authority, and I can explain you for a few hours what that means, because we objectivize that statement, you will get the green bird. On the other hand, we're building the Safe on Web network for the enterprises portal, and companies in Belgium will be able to, with me, their digital identity, using the RMA and the Crossroad Bank of Enterprise, register their domains. So they are linked to someone registered this for this company. That means for us, green dash. We know who you are. And then, of course, we will do a preload, because when we release this next year, we want to make sure that people have a big, we hope in long term, 90% at least, green dash experience when surfing normal websites. At the meantime, phishers will have difficulties registering a domain with a green dash because it will be linked to your identity, but they can hack existing green dash websites. In those 15,000 emails a day, if we get a confirmed malicious link on a green dash domain, it will lose its green dash for a period of time. It will become orange. Because our reasoning is we know who the owner is, but it's not the only owner. There is somebody else owning that domain and having access to that domain. So we don't know the owner. It's not green, it's orange. And this is more or less what we are doing in Belgium.
Thank you very much.